Welcome to the Champion Stepdad podcast. We are exploring the unique role of stepdads and how to apply performance psychology skills to become better father figures and role models. Building a band of brothers by focusing on empathy and accountability. Empathy because being a stepdad is tough. Accountability because I get it. Being a stepdad is tough, but you chose this role, so do it the best that you can. There's no reason to go it alone. We are your community of support and accountability. My name is Neil Wadier. I'm a 16-year stepdad. I'm also a resilience trainer and a performance consultant. I'm encouraging you to join the Champion Stepdad Facebook group, get involved, and grow your band of brothers. I recently asked in the Champion Stepdad Facebook group about your frustration with the biological dad. What is your experience so far? What's your dynamic? What are you doing to make the situation better for your stepchildren? The relationship between a stepdad and a biological dad can run anywhere on a spectrum from friendly to the extreme of loathing or outright manipulation and sabotage. My experience has not been bad. I consider myself very blessed. Cindy's ex isn't a bad guy. He's just not my favorite person and not somebody I would routinely have a beer with, but he's a decent dad. I can imagine and empathize with the frustration that you may feel. There might be conflict, dislike, or the extreme of sabotage, abandonment, abuse, a deadbeat. And I'm not going to minimize the frustration and struggle you face. What I would like to do is challenge you, just as I did with my follow-up post on the Champion Stepdad Facebook group, which we began with a quote from Captain Jack Sparrow. The problem is not the problem. The problem is your attitude about the problem. And my point here is every problem you face, there's an action or a behavior within your control. If your reaction is to place blame or point fingers, you're missing an opportunity to give your attention to a solution that lies within you. It may not be a 100% solution, but solutions rarely are 100%. If you want to improve your well-being, your relationships, your life experiences, you have to be primarily inward focus on what is within your control. If you're constantly pointing out negativity, drama, conflict, that's where your attention is going to be drawn. And attention is like currency. The more you spend it in one area, the less you're going to have to spend in others. If you're focused on the deadbeat biological dad who doesn't act the way that you think he should act, it's going to be a constant distraction to the valuable actions and behaviors you are in control of. I'm not saying to ignore negativity. Don't excuse his behavior. What I'm saying is you can't control it. You can influence it, though. One frustration I face is my 9-year-old stepson reminds me a lot of his dad. He's a great kid. He just has this, when I look at him, I see an image of his dad, right? It's his biological dad. So it causes this negative outlook. And if I'm constantly complaining about his dad, it's going to strongly influence my ability to connect with my stepson. Because if I see him as a miniature version or a strong resemblance of, if I have this negative outlook on his dad in some subconscious way, it's going to creep into my thoughts, my emotions, my behaviors. So the solution for me is to challenge my beliefs, my thoughts, my mindset, and direct my attention and behaviors to create a better environment and experience where I can have a better relationship with my stepson, accept him for who he is, even if he reminds me of his dad, and try to focus less on that connection and more on the person, the individual, him as a person. What do I love about him? What characteristics does he have? What talents does he have? And where can I create that bond and encourage him to be the person that he is? Rather than focusing on those things that detract my attention from where my my behaviors can do good things. And I appreciate some of the answers that were thrown out in those Facebook posts about the dynamic with the biological dad. And I can empathize with your frustration. And one of the people that posted on there, Garrett, mentioned the dad's previous behavior and his tendency to still be manipulative. And that's the kind of thing that you have to be aware of. But then he also goes on to say that as frustrating as it is, he's trying to focus on what he can control. My man, that's exactly what I'm talking about. You can have any number of things in your life, your relationships, where it's going to take your focus off of what you can control. Be aware of those things. Don't let it take your attention away from what you can do. Another issue I see frequently is overcompensation. And I'm not just talking about the dudes with big trucks for absolutely no reason. I'm talking about overcompensating for an absent or unhealthy biological dad, or anyone else you see as a potential negative influence on your stepchildren. Again, going back to control what you can control, address the issues appropriately, establish known standards and accountability, known as in include the whole family in on the conversation for stronger buy-in. Have a sit down with the family and say, this is the kind of household that we want to create. Or ask the question, what can we expect from you? As a 7 and a 9-year-old, what can I expect from you? Can I expect that you're going to leave the dinner table clean, and then I'm going to be able to walk away and allow you to do the dishes and figure it out? Yes, you're capable of doing that, and you do it. So therefore the accountability is after dinner, the 7 and a 9-year-old are doing dishes. That's not a problem in our house because it's the conversation we've had. The boys know they're capable of doing it. They can do a good job. We help them when they make little mistakes or they do stuff that isn't really great for getting dishes clean, but they're learning and they're doing it. And it's not always great, but they're doing it. So we give them that responsibility, but we have the standards and accountability because we sat down and we talked about it. And that's the expectation in our household. There's more buy-in now. And of all things, be consistent. If you want to effectively counter what you perceive as negative influence on your stepchildren, be consistent. Be the rock, be the pillar, be that firm foundation they know they can always rely upon. One issue I'm still working on is first day back from dad's house. I have a tendency to talk too harsh and be too discipline focused instead of giving them an opportunity to adjust. They know the standards we have, but they're 7 and 9-year-old. They just spent a week at dad's house where it's similar, but there's little things that kind of drive me crazy. And they come back to our house and they might need a day or so to hit that reset button and make sure that they're doing what they need to be doing and act in the way that they know that they're supposed to act at our house. This is one that I'm really working hard on. My attitude toward my stepchildren is too harsh for the circumstances the first day back from their dad's house. My responsibility within my control. Parenting is amazing and frustrating all at the same time. Step parenting has additional inherent complications, but it also has the potential for immense joy and satisfaction. So place your attention where you can do the most good, where is within your control, and make your home, make your relationships great. So my challenge for you this week is to fight that negativity bias, focus on the good things about your relationships, your home, and the great stepfather that you are. Find joy in the amazing influence you have on these children. Thanks for listening. My name is Neil Wadier. Please subscribe to the podcast. Join the Champion Stepdad Facebook group. Jump into the conversations. Share your joys and your struggles. Let's build this community and grow our band of brothers.